Hello, and welcome to Tubelandia West with Jefferson. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the records I picked up during travels in North Carolina recently. Went to a few different record stores, and I'll give you a quick overview of what I picked up and what my general impressions were of each store. So, be right back. So in no uncertain order, the record stores I visited in North Carolina were Revolver Records in McAdenville, North Carolina, Lunchbox Records in Charlotte, North Carolina, Sleepy Poet Antiques and Records, also in Charlotte, North Carolina, Noble Records in Matthews, North Carolina, and Dead Wax Records in Lenoir, North Carolina. So at Noble Records in Matthews, North Carolina, I picked up the following records. Stooges' first album, Mono, on Monarch Pressing, sounded great. Sonny Clark, Cool Struttin', Music Matters Jazz, 33 1/3. Sir Douglas Quintet, Mendocino. Of course, I live in Northern California, so I bought a Northern California record in North Carolina. Eric Burden and War, Black Man's Burden. And the Rhythm Devils, which is Mickey and Billy from the Grateful Dead, with the Apocalypse Now sessions. There's lots of great stuff in the store. It's a lot like the videos you expect. There's a lot of African rock, Zamrock, really cool psych, really cool obscure jazz, and he had a lot of gear, including a quadraphonic recorder. That was a great plus, and just a general really cool vibe in the store. Dylan was actually putting up a new Holy Moly shelf for his Holy Moly wall when I was there, so it's kind of cool to see that in transition. But the only downer about that whole experience is that the records were shipped to me in North Carolina, and they were shipped to me here in Northern California. And while I was still in North Carolina, I got the opportunity to see some package thieves steal them off my porch before I got home. So if you're out there and you see some Stooges and Sonny Clark, let me know. The next store I visited was Sleepy Poet Records, which is part of the Sleepy Poets Antique Mall in North Carolina. This place was so amazing. It's like massive flea market, massive vintage store, but with actually cool items, not too expensive. Weird things from everything like an old Coca-Cola dispenser to a massive Brady Bunch Subway poster from the 70s. I mean, and everything in between. The record store is off to the side of the main antiques mall. So what's interesting about this store is that everything is on consignment. So there's like 4 or 5 major vendors all selling out of the same store. So you can really see everyone's style of vendor, and then which vendors had originals, which ones cleaned them, which ones had no clue. You had a lot of vendors that had like a 1977 repress of, say, Crosby, Stills and Nash, but it was billed as a 1970 original, and so they were just putting the original release date on everything, regardless of where the pressing came from, which was okay. I mean, but it's not the store's fault. It's just like whatever that particular vendor decided to put on the record. So anyway, they had a lot of cool stuff, like some original contemporaries that were interesting. Barney Kessel and Hampton Hawes 4. And then the original Shelly Man 2, 3, 4, which was kind of cool. But, you know, I have those either on the contemporary reissues or whatever. But I did find a few nice things there, starting with the bands, Northern Lights, Southern Cross. This is an original pressing, strong VG Plus, and it's one that I had a gap in my collection because I stupidly sold my other original a few years ago. So it's nice to get this back into my collection. The other ones I got were the Levon Helms solo project with the RCO All-Stars, and then the Rick Danko solo project that he did. So these both came out 1977, I believe, and between the two of them, you can put together a pretty decent band album. Basically, all the members of the band play on each album with each individual solo guy. And I believe the Rick Danko was recorded at Shangri-La Studios that Rick Rubin now uses. So he mentions it briefly in The Last Waltz, where he's showing Martin Scorsese something that he's working on in the studio, and it's from this album. But both of these are great. If you like the band, honestly, there's probably one really good album between the two of them, but definitely worth having if you're a fan. Finally, at Sleepy Poet, I grabbed this. Tammy Wynette's Greatest Hits, Volume 4. I missed that when I bought it. Looks like a 1 to me, but it's really a 4 if you get up close to it. So, I just seen the Showtime documentary on George and Tammy, and I thought I'd grab this. It's a promo copy, you know, what the hell. It wasn't that much. It was under $10. And so, you know, I love George Jones. I like Tammy pretty well. I really wanted to like this, but got it back to California and played it, and it was just horrid. It was terrible. It's volume 4. I guess she was scraping the bottom of the barrel, but you know, stick with 1 through 3 and you'll be happier. Anyway, really like Sleepy Poet at Antiques and Records. It's a fun little store. The folks that were working there were knowledgeable. There's cool little posters, t-shirts that they had. Just a nice little store attached to a really groovy antiques outlet. At Revolver Records in McAdenville, North Carolina, I didn't see a whole lot there in terms of vinyl, although it was a really well laid out store. They had really nice used gear there, some audio research gear, a Nakamichi cassette deck, some other odds and ends. The records seem to be a little heavy on the kind of Manitoba adult contemporary kind of stuff you see in Goodwill. But then it also had a selection of brand new records that was great. You know, it had all the Pink Floyd, all the new Led Zeppelin. So it was a mixed bag. But what I was able to get there was this amazing Bob Dylan reel-to-reel Greatest Hits 3 3/4. Sounds great. It was amazing to pick this up. $25. I couldn't believe I got such a great deal. And the gentleman I talked to there was wonderful. We had a big back and forth but friendly discussion about the whole MoFi DSD controversy. And it was great to have a discussion with someone face-to-face online where we could each listen to each other's opinions respectfully and not call each other Hitler after, you know, whatever Godwin's Law says it's supposed to take. But yeah, really great store and a great pickup on the Bob Dylan. The first Charlotte record store I went to was Lunchbox Records. So they had a great selection of both old and new stuff. And I was really impressed with the pricing in all these North Carolina stores for that matter. Everything seemed very reasonable compared to what I'm used to playing in San Francisco and Berkeley. So some of the stuff I picked up there, Caius, which is Gracias, which is the compilation, the greatest hits of the band Caius, one of my wife's favorite. Lots of Queens of the Stone Age sound, really wonderful. And it's by the Runout Group, which is a great reissue label. Next, we have Canned Soundtracks. This is a early 2000s reissue, I believe. A lot more affordable than the original, sounds great. My only complaint about this album is that I guess these are very long songs in the movies and there's harsh cuts all throughout. But it's krautrock, I love it, it's Can. What can I say? Next thing I picked up was a early 1982 repress of Pink Floyd, The Wall. Sounds great, no issues. It was $20, I couldn't complain, and I needed a copy of The Wall anyway. Final two records I got are The Seldom Seen, the first album, Act 1, and This Old Train, which has got their one big hit on it, Wait a Minute. These are great. This is a great band. It's Americana, old-time music, bluegrass, but it was done at a time when Americana term and old-time music term didn't really exist. And it's just beautiful, pure Southern harmonies, beautiful vocals, beautiful instrumentation and playing. If you've never heard of these guys, check out the Seldom Seen. If you like bluegrass at all, they're amazing. And that was all I got from Lunchbox. Finally, one of the last stores I went to in North Carolina was Dead Wax Records in Lenoir, North Carolina. No one really knows where Lenoir is, but it's a small little town at the foothills of the Smoky Mountains on your way to Blowing Rock and Boone, which is a kind of a resort area. I grew up in Lenoir and I have a lot of friends there, family, and surprisingly, or shockingly, or not surprisingly, it was one of my favorite stores there just because it was so well done. Chris, the owner, he has an, let's say, unhealthy obsession with Dolly Parton, so there's little statues and tributes to her all throughout the store, which is fine. It was organized really, really well by new stuff, old school stuff. He had cassettes, he had 8-tracks, he had Laserdisc, freaking Laserdisc, and just everything that you can imagine, all reasonably priced. But of course I went in there, and first thing I noticed on the Holy Moly wall was a bunch of OG MoFis from back in the day, from back the Stan Richter days, and then one new one from the newer MoFi, and they were all so amazingly priced and sounded really, really good as it turned out when they got them home. But without further ado, the things I picked up at Dead Wax Records. Yep, another Seldom Seen album, the new Seldom Seen. Again, can't say enough about these guys. Everything they did up through 1980 is a must-have if you like bluegrass in any capacity. So what I saw, Close to the Edge, MoFi, VG Plus on the cover. Sounds really great. Next, Beatles White Album MoFi. With the lyric sheet instead of the regular cards. It sounds amazing. Had a little bit of spotting here, but not too bad considering how great the record sounded. Then, something that had been on my grail list or wish list for a very long time, Hot Buttered Soul by Isaac Hayes. Let's see if we can get it not shiny there. Anyway, this has been on my wish list for a long time. Sounds amazing. By the time I get to Phoenix, I mean, what more can you say? The inner sleeve here was kind of cool because I had the lyrics on it, and it was just the standard MoFi advertisement card, but sounded really good. All the MoFis I picked up at Dead Wax were amazing. And then last but not least, also on the Holy Moly wall at Dead Wax, was this OG original Moby Grape mono with Don Stevenson flipping you the bird, the original uncensored cover. I got this home, cleaned it. It sounds like a brand new record. I mean, 1966 or 67 technology still coming through loud and clear with the mono punch. So that was my take on Dead Wax Records in Lenoir. Okay, finally, while I was traveling to North Carolina, I still had other records coming in. So just as an honorable mention, I don't think I'll cover those just because a lot of these really delighted me. First off, I accidentally bought this first pressing of Audubon. I jumped on it when I saw Vertigo and first pressing. Of course, then I realized it was first pressing American, not German. German is on the Phillips label. Oh well, it was $20 and it's a great sounding copy. Also, this half-speed mastering of Wish You Were Here. This was on the Chad Kasem's Acoustic Sounds Vinyl Vault Canadian collection. There were two copies of this. One was cheaper, one was more expensive. I actually bought the cheaper version, and it ended up missing like an inner sleeve and some other stuff, which was fine, but I wanted to be a completist. So Jonathan Hess and Acoustic Sounds Vinyl Vault in general were super helpful in that they allowed me to return the old one, get the more expensive one that was complete, had all the inner sleeves, etc. Slightly better sound on the vinyl too, and they just made it very, very easy, so I was happy to get this. The other thing I found a great guy in the UK, and I was able to finally get not a first pressing, but first year Ziggy Stardust. I think it's a 4F, but it's not the first pressing, but it's still within the first year, and it's UK. Sounds wonderful. Original inner sleeve, so I was happy to get this. And then last, but certainly best, of all these pickups, my wife's favorite Black Sabbath album is Master of Reality. I've been looking for an original UK vertical swirl for a long, long time. I have the Rhino reissues from like 2010, 2011, and they sound great. They sound good, but I'd always heard about, the Vertigos being amazing, and, they're certainly pricey. Anyway, I was able to make a deep blanket deal on this and the David Bowie from a seller, but pick this up, vertical swirl, Vertigo swirl. Also the original Vertigo inner sleeve. No poster, but I don't think any of these have posters anymore. And I have the poster from the Rhino reissue. But anyway, got this basically. It's a gift for my wife, and we put this on the other night, and I gotta say, I was blown away at how good this Vertigo UK sounds. Yes, it's believe the hype, but I mean, do yourself a favor and just get VG plus minimum. It's probably impossible to find these near mint for less than a kidney, but the crunch, the dynamics, the bass, the low end, the lack of murkiness on this pressing is just phenomenal. Anyway, that's basically it. That's the end of my recent purchases, and thanks so much for watching, and please like and subscribe for more audiophile and just general record content, audio content, analog content.